Mangwana ni Malelepo Vukenjani Kleklas Vanave Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the news and current affairs show, bringing you everything you need to know happening on the African continent and beyond. You are joined by Ashwin Mberi on Monday, the 2nd of September. That's how excited I am to be getting into the news week with you. I'm even forgetting my own name, but these are some of the top stories we can expect today. Makhanda hung out to dry. This is by striking municipal workers in South Africa. African heads of state are in Beijing, and this is for the China-Africa Cooperation Summit. And UNICEF issues emergency tender in order to secure mpox vaccines. We'll also talk to Talent Gore as she brings us the news stories from Zimbabwe, as Ari brings us the sport. DSTV 2 at 5, Gore TV 25, 1 up 2 is precisely where you can find us. Top stories shortly.
Entries are now open for the second round of Republicane's Bridal Couple of the Year competition. Couples married between 1 June and 31 August have until 30 September of this year to enter the second round of the competition. Another one of the top 10 couples will be chosen from this pool to participate in the final, taking place in May 2025. To better your chance of reaching the final, enter now. To enter, simply WhatsApp #bridal2025 to 085 785 6231 and follow the on-screen instructions or scan this QR code.
Let's get into our top stories now. Despite cries from the town's landmark institution, Makhanda's water crisis shows little sign of abating. Management and students from Rhodes University marched to the municipality's offices on Friday, 30 August, in protest of their unbearably dry taps. The current water outage is due to municipal workers' strike, with officials claiming that the striking workers are sabotaging the infrastructure. The 120th year of the Rhodes University's existence, lectures were suspended as the town endured a week-long water outage. Standing on the steps of the municipal offices, students demanded the restoration of their water supply. By Friday afternoon, the town experienced a few short hours of trickling taps, but by Sunday, they were dry again. Residents and businesses resorted to using tanks and buckets. Now, after being hounded about her nationality and essentially being forced to drop out of the Miss South Africa contest, Chidima Adetshina has been crowned beauty queen of a different country. Adetshina cried tears of joy as she was named Miss Universe Nigeria on Saturday. This crown is not just for beauty, it's a call for unity, the 23-year-old law student stated after weeks at the center of an intense media storm. She was invited to participate in Miss Universe Nigeria after her position as a finalist in the Miss South Africa contest sparked a wave of criticism. Some people in South Africa had questioned her eligibility to compete in the beauty pageant because despite being a South African citizen, Adetshina's father is Nigerian and her mother has Mozambican roots. In interviews, Adetshina said she was born in Soweto, the South African township next to Johannesburg, and grew up in Cape Town. The row over her nationality sparked an investigation, with the organizers of Miss South Africa asking the nation's Home Affairs Department to look into her eligibility. Now, African heads of state have begun arriving in the China capital, Beijing, and this is for the China-Africa Cooperation Summit, and it's in the 2024 forum, which gets underway on Wednesday. This 9th gathering is expected to provide a framework for navigating China's evolving strategic partnership with the continent in the post-COVID era. It is taking place at a time of rising geopolitical tension that will see Beijing prioritize prioritize its position over other world powers. Climate and energy are expected to be among the key topics for negotiation between Chinese and African stakeholders. Discussions will also focus on digital and technology cooperation in a bid to close Africa's digital divide. Now, the United Nations Children Fund has issued an emergency tender in order to secure mpox vaccines for crisis-hit countries in collaboration with the Gavi Vaccine Alliance, Africa CDC, and the World Health Organization. The organization said in a joint statement on Saturday, depending on the production capacity of manufacturers, agreements for up to 12 million doses through 2025 can be made, according to the statement. Under the tender, UNICEF will set up conditional supply agreements with vaccine manufacturers, the statement said. This will enable UNICEF to purchase and ship vaccines without delay once financing, demand, readiness, and regulatory requirements are confirmed. The collaboration, which would also include working with the Vaccine Alliance and the Pan American Health Organization, as well as with Gavi, the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and WHO, would facilitate donations of vaccines from existing stockpiles in high-income countries. Now, the Mozambican Medical Association has suspended national doctors' strike that was due to begin on Sunday. According to the AMM chairperson Napoleão Viola, cited by the independent television station STV, a general meeting of doctors held on Friday decided to suspend the strike. The AMM believed there had been advances in its negotiations with the government, and suspending the strike would give the government more time to respond to all the doctors' demands. Hence, according to an AMM press release, the AMM has decided to continue prioritizing dialogue and joint work as the primordial way of achieving its goals. Now, in Zimbabwe, unleaded petrol has just been banned. We'll be talking to Talent Gore about that story and more after the break.
Welcome to Namibia, where adventure meets tranquility. With Enjoy, you have access to a wide range of accommodations to suit every traveler's taste and budget. Experience the finest dining and hospitality Namibia has to offer. Booking your dream accommodation is just a few clicks away with Enjoy. Join thousands of happy travelers who have trusted Enjoy for their Namibian getaway. Your gateway to unforgettable Namibian adventures. Visit us today at enjoy.my.na.
It's time for us to talk to Talent Gore as she brings us the news stories from Zimbabwe. Talent Omkase.
Africa.
Tamukahedu. Now, the government has introduced new regulations that include the banning of unleaded petrol. Tell us more. Why?
Yes, the government has banned rather than the sale of unleaded petrol, saying that they are trying to promote the use of environment-friendly fuel and the country's reliance on imported fuel. The government announced the ban through stage 150 of 24, and according to this, Energy and Environment Minister Edgar Moyo made changes after consulting with the Zimbabwe Regulatory Authority and to the SIO. Unleaded petrol imports into Zimbabwe should be blended with ethanol, and this means that for importers who have to mix a certain percentage of ethanol petrol before selling motorists. You find out that in Zimbabwe, now many fuel stations are now selling leaded, and people were opting unleaded or unblended petrol because people were saying that it lasts longer rather than the leaded one. So right now, the government has said they do not the sale of unleaded, and in the past, the statutory rather the ban will come into play in the next 7 days. So after 7 days, fuel stations are required to stop selling limited fuel, and they have to blend their fuel with ethanol. And they're saying the government that ethanol has to be that fuel rather has to be blended in Zimbabwe because we have suppliers who have the ethanol and who have the capacity to blend that. So the government that all
Sorry,
petrol
Talent.
in Zimbabwe should be blended.
Sorry, Talent, we'll need to interrupt you there. Our sound is a little bit chippy, so I'm just going to go through the stories that Talent Gore had brought for us. Starting with that one, for those of you who might not have gotten it clearly enough, the Zimbabwean government has introduced new regulations that ban unleaded petrol, ostensibly to promote the use of environmentally friendly fuel, as well as to reduce the country's reliance on imported fuel. And the second of Talent stories, Harare police round up and hand over 22 child street beggars to social welfare. And in the third of Talent Gore's stories, more than 6.2 million rural Zimbabweans require food aid between now and April next year as the country battles the worst drought in over 40 years, the government has said. As we know, the coffers are essentially being emptied because of the drought. Just last week, Namibia itself announced the culling of several hundred animals in order to try and address the issue of drought and food insecurity. Zambia is also dealing with the drought. So we'll be seeing how not just Zimbabwe, but the rest of SADC, Sub-Saharan Africa, indeed reacts to that drought. Those have been Talent stories for Africa. Good morning. Let's have a look at the weather predictions.
Neopaints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neopaints commits to our quality guarantee and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neopaints, we always stay true to our country. We are as Namibian as you.
President William Ruto of Kenya has revealed his partnership with the opposition leader of his administration and the former Prime Minister of the country, Raila Odinga. Raila announced his candidacy for the African Union chairmanship. As reported by the Kenyan newspaper The Star, President Ruto recently revealed that he has reached an understanding with former Prime Minister Raila Odinga to avoid politics that split the country. Ruto said at a rally on Saturday in Kisumu that they will refrain from engaging in politics that jeopardize the unity of the Kenyan people. Raila Odinga, aka Baba, and I have agreed that the old type of politics of division and tribal politics, will be a thing of the past. He then proceeded to solicit the goodwill of the people in the area, asking them if they welcome the idea and if they would love to see these two politicians collaborate. Now, the United States has revealed plans to extend the Lobito Corridor, a major transport route which is snaking through the mineral-rich Angola, DRC, and Zambia to the Indian Ocean shores of Tanzania. Speaking at the end of a week-long trip to the DRC and Tanzania, Helania Mata, acting special coordinator for the Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment at the U.S. State Department, detailed early discussions to include Tanzania in what she called the Trans-Africa Corridor, which will facilitate the global export of copper, cobalt, and other critical minerals. Our mission on this trip is to continue expanding the Trans-Africa Corridor. That includes relaunching our partnership with the DRC and engaging with the Tanzanian government and private sector on the next steps towards extending the economic corridor to the Indian Ocean, Matsa said. We are working with the government and throughout the region and the private sector to get a deeper understanding of what some of those local needs are and how best to extend the Trans-Africa Corridor, both physically by the backbone rail that we have helped invest in, but by thinking about important layered projects that help leverage what happens when you bring down the amount of time it takes to transit in a region. Let's have a look at the economic indicators before Adi Hochad brings us the sport. The main colour of the weekend was red with regards to the English Premier League. That red card for Declan Rice as Arsenal faced Brighton. The Reds beating the Red Devils yesterday, of course, much to Ari's delight, along with the Springbok win over New Zealand, which of course doesn't contain much red, but of course much celebration for you and myself. How are you feeling, Ari?
Yes, very good morning, Ashwin. Yes, very good Monday for me indeed. It doesn't happen often that the Monday is that good. But yes, as you mentioned, there are great results on the sporting field all over. Let's go to that football. And it's the two only unbeaten teams at the moment is defending champion Manchester City. That's in the English Premier League, and also Liverpool. They've got 9 points after 3 games. And both of them with impressive away wins. Manchester City beating West Ham 3-1. And then it was Liverpool. That was a big game, beating Manchester United by 3-0. That was away from home. Not a good start for Erik ten Hag. Lots of pressure already on him. A great start for Arne Slot. That's the new coach of Liverpool. And he started off with 3 wins in the English Premier League. As you mentioned, Arsenal, Brighton playing to a 1-0 goal. That was Declan Rice, red card in the 49th minute, a big part in that. Brighton scored in the 58th minute to equalise. So they drop points there, but both of them in 3rd and 4th position on 7 points at the moment. Aston Villa beating Leicester by 2-1, and then Newcastle beat Tottenham Hotspur. That was a home win by 2-1. Let's go to the rugby. As you also mentioned, it was the Springboks, a very impressive win for them against the All Blacks. Impressive in that they came back. That is Grant Williams scoring the winning try late in the game. And it was 31 points to 27 for the Springboks. Didn't play to their best rugby. The All Blacks always a threat, They were quite a few points behind with 15 minutes to go, but they showed again they can win a game in the last 10 or 5 or even last minute. And so the next game will be this coming weekend, the big game in Cape Town, South Africa hosting the All Blacks in Cape Town. And then another game in that championship was Australia, away win for them, 20 points to 19, very close game against Argentina. On to tennis news, US Open, big tennis happening at the moment. Big news coming from Flushing Meadows is a defending champion in the women's division, Coco Gauff, out of the tournament, beaten by a countrywoman, Emma Navarro, and she's out of the tournament, losing in 3 sets. So that's Aryna Sabalenka. She's now the highest seed left in the tournament. She's safely through in the 4th round, Aryna Sabalenka. And also earlier on the weekend, it was Novak Djokovic that lost. He lost to Alex Popyrin of Australia in 4 sets. So the number 2 seed is also out of the tournament, and that's Yannick Sinner. He's still in the tournament, number 1 seed. He will play against Tommy Paul, and that will be in the 4th round. On to golf news, it was a season-ending PGA tournament. It is lead up with 30 players qualifying for the Tour Championship. That's in Atlanta, and lots of money they pay for. Total purse for just this tournament, $100 million, lots of money. The winner taking $25 million, and the winner of this tournament, they're teeing off, is Scotty Scheffler of the United States. He ended with a total of minus 30. That's after the 4 rounds. He started with minus 10. That was the system, a point system, that he had a 2-shot lead when he started the tournament. Anyway, he won the tournament quite convincingly by 4 shots over Colin Morikawa. A dream season for Scotty Scheffler. He also won the Olympic gold. He also won the Masters this year, also the Players Championship. He actually won 7 tournaments in the season, so totally dominated. And he took $25 million. That's Scotty Scheffler. $25 million he took home for this victory. So he's playing great golf in this year. To close off real quickly, also the other red that you talked about, Ashwin, it was Ferrari red winning at home for them, Italian Grand Prix. A bit of a surprise, Charles Leclerc winning the Grand Prix, the Italian Grand Prix. Second was Oscar Piastri, and third Lando Norris. That is Charles Leclerc, and it was because of a good strategy. Only 1 stop for them, 2 stopper for McLaren, and it was Charles Leclerc winning, and Max Verstappen in 6th position, disappointing for him in his record. So that's all the sport. I'm a happy man this Monday, and hopefully next Monday it will be the same again, but no guarantees. But have a great sport week for everyone. Bye-bye.
The only guarantee is that you will guide us through it all, Ari. Thank you very much for bringing us the sports news. We're going to take a quick break before we return with the highlights.
E-Ticket, your online ticket solution for events and event marketing, bringing you ease of mind and making sure that your event gets out there. For more information, contact events@nmh.com.na.
Thank you for staying with the first Africa Good Morning of the month. Let's have a look at some highlights from the broadcast. Makhanda hung out to dry by striking municipal workers in South Africa. Hounded South African beauty queen wins Nigeria contest. William Ruto buddies up with political rivals for the unity of Kenya. DSTV 285, GoTV 25, oneup2.com is precisely where you can find us. We have a whole week to go, so don't miss any of the shows. From me, Ashwin Berry, and the Africa Good Morning team, Sweda Jakanaka.